Hey, what is good with y'all? It's your boy KAG, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX and the lack thereof of information regarding a handheld. Now, as a lot of y'all may not know, the actual 3DS will have been around for 6 years coming up in March of 2017, which is around the time when the NX comes out. But that's not actually having anything to do with what the NX, is going on with that. But what I am going to say here is the fact that nobody has heard any type of information regarding any type of handheld, which would be kind of odd. The reason why that is odd is because number one, when there is a new handheld, that means that there's new hardware. And because there's new hardware, then that means that typically, the graphics will have increased, the hardware will have increased, and so with there being a new actual handheld type device, then that means other third-party developers would need to get their hands on a actual handheld type device in order to create games for it. And with, it being 6 years that the 3DS have been out, that means it's actually time for it to be replaced. So that would mean that developers would technically have one right now and would be working on their mobile games, because mobile games do take time to create. Or should I say handheld games do take time to create. So, that kind of leaves me in a question for y'all. Does that mean that maybe possibly that there really isn't a handheld coming out for it? Because if you actually look at what's going on currently with Nintendo, we have that the fact that they actually are pretty much successful with Pokemon Go. It is trending really big right now. It's become a really big deal, and it's making Nintendo a lot of money with these mobile games. And on top of that, we have a key game coming out for mobile, within the next couple of months, and that is Animal Crossing. Why is that important? Well, Animal Crossing is kind of a big deal like Pokemon is, except on a little bit smaller of a scale, because Animal Crossing, believe it or not, has a huge following, and these people put in 300 to 500 to 600 hours on this game every time. Matter of fact, I'm actually one of those people. Now, with that being said, the fact that there's no type of handheld that is actually coming out or anything like that, that could mean that Nintendo is trending over towards mobile. And the reason why I say that is because if you actually look at the 3DS, we have a couple games coming out for it this year, but there's absolutely no games coming out for it in 2017. And because there's no games coming out for it in 2017, then that would mean that Nintendo would typically be going ahead and saying, hey, we're not going to do any handheld games for the whole year until November comes out, and then we're going to release our handheld. But that doesn't make any sense at all. If you actually take a look at everything, so when you calculate that, and then you calculate the fact that Animal Crossing is coming to mobile, then that means that typically they could actually be putting their eggs in a different basket, which would be mobile. So rather than actually going ahead and investing in more handheld type experiences, they're doing more money into the actual mobile experiences. Why? Because there's millions more people that actually have handhelds, or should I say have tablets and cell phones that actually play these games, because believe it or not, they actually make more money. Mobile games make way more money than actual handheld games do in sales. So when you actually calculate all of that together, it would actually be better for Nintendo to make mobile games rather than to make handheld games. But a lot of people say, well, they won't want to move away from their hardware, right? Well, not necessarily, because they don't necessarily have to move away from their hardware. What they could technically do is actually create a actual mobile handheld device that actually plays their mobile games instead of the regular traditional handheld games. So rather than you getting your typical handheld games that you would normally get, you would be getting more of a console experience mixed with a mobile experience. So your handheld games would be those little mobile games that you are playing now, like Pokemon Go, and pretty soon Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. Yeah, because, for them to actually have 3 departments going, that doesn't quite make sense. You're talking having a console being developed, then you're talking about having handheld being developed, and then you're talking about mobile being developed. It doesn't make sense to have 3 genres of games, if that makes any type of sense to y'all. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about all this down there in the comment section. If you think I may be onto something, be sure to go ahead and click that like button. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we talk about all things Nintendo here. And you know what? It's free. so do it anyways. Why not? I would. Peace.